I've been sending cold email for the last 10 years and I've been through a ton of failure. But because of that, I was able to take my time and learn all of the cold email tactics that actually work that have allowed me to book thousands of calls across 4 businesses that I've ran, which has generated over 8 figures in new sales revenue. And because I don't want you to suffer through trial and error, I'm making this video to give you the best strategies and tactics that I've learned so that you can shortcut your success using cold email. And this video isn't just going to be a quick little 10-minute tutorial. So if you don't have the attention span to sit through and absorb everything that I'm about to share with you, I'm sorry, you're probably not going to make it. So the first piece of advice that we want to do is we want to lead with value and not a pitch. I see so many people when they do cold email, they end the emails with book a call, buy my stuff, let's work together. Can you book now? Can you do this today? Like that sort of stuff where it's a sense of urgency of them basically just receiving a right hook. And what happens is the customers on the other end, and what they're doing is they're just like, no, why would I even respond to you? They end up sending your email immediately in trash. Because if you think about it, you've ever received a cold email before. Would you respond to a random person who you have no idea who they are and they're just ultimately selling you stuff in an email and there's no relational equity, there's no value or anything like that? Probably not. So same thing goes when we're emailing businesses. They're busy, they have a lot going on. They're probably being sold to consistently over time, over and over again. And the way that we can combat that to actually get responses and get somebody to be excited to reply is to lead with value. For example, what we can be saying instead of, oh, buy my stuff, let's book a call tomorrow, is we can offer an audit or an assessment. Say something like, I reviewed your website, noticed a few quick things that could increase conversion rates by 10%. I'd be happy to share them with you. Some stuff along those lines where you're leading with value and someone's like, you actually understand me and I can actually respond and I'm happy to respond to this because you're adding value to my life. Provide insights, notice you're in blah, 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 and thought you'd find this recent market helpful. Share a relevant case study, highlight a quick solution to a problem, offer a free tool or a resource, provide an actionable tip, share a success story, point out untapped opportunities, offer a personalized strategy, give a complimentary review or a consultation. All of these are not meant to close the deal in the email or get them to book a call as soon as possible with you to take advantage of this opportunity. The whole purpose of leading with value and not just a pitch is to actually get responses. What we're doing is we're trying to turn our list of contacts into leads, get them to raise their hand. And the way that we're actually going to do that in today's day and age is not to be selling them one after another. It's going to be leading with value and making sure that they feel understood, because that's what's going to actually get them to raise their hand and be pumped to reply and pumped for what you have to offer them. We are in the trust recession, so no longer does just buy my stuff work anymore, because the person that you're emailing probably gets hundreds of those every single day. We need to lead with value and it needs to be relevant to that specific customer. Second thing is we need to keep it short and simple. We work with a ton of people and we help them with cold email at their agency if that's an avenue that they want to go about from client acquisition. And sometimes they'll either send me stuff that they've done in the past or they'll send me like a first email to review and I'll get it and I'll look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a 6-paragraph thing. And admittedly, I was that guy too at some point where I thought I just need to get as much information to this person, because the more information that I give them, the more informed that they're going to be about what we have to offer, and the more informed that they're going to be, then they can make an informed decision. And it's like, no, that's not what's going to happen, because the people who are receiving the email, they're literally going to be like this and like, this is quite the email and this is pretty long. I'm not actually going to take the time to sift through this whole email about how you can bring results for me and your whole offer and full explanation of how you get clients from A to Z and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be immediately in the trash. So to avoid our clients doing that, we need to, again, keep it short and simple when we are communicating our offer or basically our email to the client, because the reality is the average CEO gets over 120 emails every single day. Speaking for myself, I get hundreds of cold emails and I probably read about 5% of them. And the ones that catch my attention personally, you can tell me if you're the same, are the ones that are short, simple, to the point, people understand me. If somebody were to send me this, I'd be like, how do you think this works? And I see that done a lot still. So an example of a short and sweet email is just simply, I noticed company name recently, whatever, personalized line. We help software companies like yours increase conversions to boost revenue from existing traffic by optimizing onboarding and user journey and using the fast cash model. We recently helped blank, blank, blank increase their trial to paid conversion by 25% in just 60 days. Could I shoot over a personalized video on how this could work for you? This uses the lessons that I just taught of leading with value with the call to action. And also it's just short and sweet. This is what people need to do. Like, people are just going to scan your email anyway. And we want to make sure that it seems like it's not a cold email blast, but it is something made specifically for the person that you're emailing to, which is how a cold email should feel. It shouldn't just feel like a novel of you trying to convince them that why your service is superior. All we're trying to do is we're trying to get our clients to raise their hand hand, or our prospective clients to raise our hand. And a novel thinking that they're going to buy through an email and trust you is not the way to do that. The next point that I want to make is that lists are king. So when I say lists, I mean the email list that you are receiving or the email list that you're building so that you can build a list of contacts to send your emails to. So what I see a ton and what I used to do is I was the guy who's like, everyone freaking gets an email. Like, let's just blast this out because everybody needs to receive the email that I'm sending over to you. And I want to send this to as many people as humanly possible because the more people that see this, the more likely I'm actually going to get a response. I'm actually going to convert that response to a call and I'm going to convert that call to a client. It's going to be great because if I can just blast it to everybody and anybody with a pulse, we're going to crush. And I would get these huge lists and I would send them over and I would start to realize a lot of my emails are going to spam. That's kind of weird. Or they would receive the email and it would not be relevant for that customer. And I would get responses like, why are you emailing me? Like, this doesn't make zero sense for me because I wasn't disciplined with the lists. And the problem with this, because we get so eager, we just want to blast a bunch of emails as much as possible. We're going to be a specialist to no one. We're going to be targeting no one if we're just targeting everyone with our marketing message. So we need to get really specific with our lists because the lists is where the money is. If we can be disciplined with the emails that we're getting, if we can make sure that they're verified, if we can make sure that the emails that we're getting are actually quality and the people on the list are actually our clients, which does take some time, which does take some administrative work. What's on the other side of that is more responses, more likely you're actually going to convert these people, and the payoff is going to be significantly better. So how do we get more lists? How do we get better lists when it comes to creating content? There's really 3 ways to get quality lists. First is using software. So there's a lot of good software there, like list building software. One of my favorite is to use Instantly's Lead Finder. If I just use their Lead Finder, what I can do is I can pull up people with specific job titles. I can pull up people in specific locations. Like, let's just say I wanted people in San Diego and I wanted people who are CEOs in San Diego. Here's 2,425 CEOs in San Diego. This is a great list. So we can filter and use software to build lists. So let's just say we wanted people who are management level, they're C-level people in the industry of, let's just do education. Let's just say education is your niche. Here's 1 million people that are C-level, and it'll give us our name, our title, the company name, the email, the phone number if they have it, the location, how many employees, the industry, keywords, company news, all the relevant information that we need in order to make sure our list is quality and make sure that it's good. The second way is to buy a list. So let's just say I work with dentists. Buy a list of dentists' emails. So we'll be able to see a lot of different providers in here that are selling lists. Verified opt-in dentist email list. #1 global opt-in dentist email list. California dental email list. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click through one. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see how many people are on it. I'm going to see if they have like a guarantee from the perspective of quality guarantee. I can look at their terms and conditions. I can see what they're actually including in the list. I can download a test list. Is that something that they offer? Are these verified emails? How often are these getting verified? So those are ways that I'm looking through these to make sure that they are in fact good. So good reviews here, last updated. So that's good. Real-time verified. This is a good sign. Maybe this is a great option for me to use. So people build lists and they'll sell lists. So if I'm like, buy a list of real estate agents, emails, there's a lot of people who do that as well. Cool. Let's look at this one. It's pretty solid. So if I was like, cool, I want people in Humboldt County, California, sweet. I can see California, they have 294 agents. They have the addresses, the email addresses, the cell phones. I could see if you've been burned by bum lists, test drive by high performance list today. Cool, they have a test drive perspective. There's a ton of different options like this that you can use as it pertains to finding a list. All you have to do is Google, pop around, make sure that they're verified, make sure that they're updated consistently, make sure that the columns are actually be relevant for you and all that sort of stuff. The other thing is you can build a list. So you can hire someone to do it manual. So what I would do a lot is I would go on something like an Upwork.com, and what I would search is I would search for list builder. If I search for a list builder, there's a lot of different people in here that are list building for a very affordable rate. So we had multiple list builders who were just consistently building lists, because sometimes we might want to find people with a specific review count or from a specific database. So for example, like what we would do is we would go to like realtor.com because we would target a lot of realtors, and then we would find realtors. And then what we would do, we would filter by highest ratings because people with the most amount of ratings usually conduct a lot of business. So we would have somebody manually pull all of the information from that. Let's just say it's like large event database plumbers. So there's probably a lot of like people who go to trade shows, plumbing trade shows, Flow Expo 2024, Flow Expo exhibitor list. Now I can literally get the huge exhibitor list of people who are attending a specific trade show, paying to be there. I can hire somebody to find everybody, and then I can use that to create like a unique angle as it pertains to me reaching out to them. We want to make sure that we are verifying every single email. So if we're doing it manually, we're still putting it through a verifier. If we're buying a list, we're going to still put it through a verifier. And a cool thing about something like a instantly lead finder is you are only paying for the verified emails. So if we use this and we add it to a campaign, it's always going to only add the verified leads to the campaign. And what that means is it's making sure that the email is relevant, it's legit, because if we're not verifying the leads, what we risk is that we risk the email is going to spam, the email is going to the wrong person, all that sort of stuff. So we want to make sure that the leads are in fact verified. So the next thing is going to be copy. Copy is one of the most important things when it comes to writing emails. And just in general, like I think it's one of the most underrated skills that business owners, marketers, agencies, salespeople can actually sink their teeth in and learn. And I actually have some ChatGPT prompts that I'm going to show you as it pertains to cold email. But if your copy is not good, it's not going to speak to the ideal customer, and it's not going to provoke an action. It's not going to influence them to want to work with you. It's not going to influence them to make an action, which is really what we want when it comes to copies. So we'll look at an example of a bad way to do it. Hi, I noticed your company is doing cool stuff. We help companies like yours make more money and thought you could be a perfect fit. Let me know if you want to talk to learn more. Happens a lot. Very vanilla, not personalized, not speaking the prospect's language, broad, pain points. What we want to do is we want our prospects to open the emails and think to themselves, wow, this person gets me. They understand my pain points. They actually know what they're talking about as it pertains to my business and my needs and what I'm looking for. This seems like a personal email. It seems like they typed it specifically for me. That's the sign of a killer cold email. But what we need to do is we need to make sure that we are understanding our customer. We know their pain points. We're speaking their language, because if we do not have this, if we don't know this, it's going to be impossible for us to write copy that's going to influence them to actually make a decision to want to work with you. So we need to make sure we have a solid understanding of who we're talking to. What are their pain points? What's the lingo that they're using? If we're being too vanilla about it, it's not going to stand out. It's not going to attract them. It's not going to pull out their strings. So it is paramount that we basically have these three things. And because you're watching this video and you made it this far, I'm going to give you some sauce with some ChatGPT prompts. What we can do inside of ChatGPT, I'm not going to do it because I already did it and I just popped it in the presentation, is we're going to go to ChatGPT. We're going to type in this prompt. I work with niches and help them achieve desired outcome using offer/service. So fill that in for your business. Give me a list of my client's current situation, pain points, and desired outcomes. Speak the lingo of my clients, go deep, and make them polarizing. So what I did is I put this inside of ChatGPT as an example. I work with plumbers and help them get new leads and grow their business using paid ads. Give me a list of all of my clients' current situations, pain points, and desired outcomes. Speak the lingo of my clients, go deep, and make them polarizing. And the result is extremely helpful as it pertains to writing copy, because all we need to do is use that. So, and this is what it spit out. Current situation, unpredictable lead flow. They're getting jobs here and there, mostly from word of mouth, but it's inconsistent. One week they're slammed, the next the phone's not ringing. Relying on outdated marketing. They've tried old school techniques, but they're not seeing any real returns from these outdated tactics. Wasting money on ads that don't convert, struggling. So that's the current situation. When you're speaking to the client's current situation, you now have a list of everything that they're probably feeling and thinking as it pertains to their business. And we can leverage that in copy. Pain points, competing with lowballers. They're constantly losing jobs to guys who underbid. They feel frustrated because they know they can provide better quality, but the price keeps getting in the way. Cycles of feast and famine, wasting money on empty promises. They've worked with marketers before who promised the world but didn't deliver. Invisible online, nobody can find them. Losing control of their time. No long-term strategy. Desired outcomes, they want a steady stream of quality leads. Be the go-to plumber in the area. These are freaking gems as it pertains to copy, because all we need to do is we can leverage these to then use throughout our email copy. If we don't understand our customers, if we can't speak their language, it's going to be really, really challenging to actually get results and influence through words, which is copywriting. Now what I did is I'm going to take this a step further. So in the same ChatGPT, what I asked it to do is I said, using this, write me an email using this framework. Hi first name, personalized line. We value prop for target niche so they can target niche goal using our unique mechanism. We just case study, CTA, your name. And what it gave me was, I was checking out John's Plumbing and noticed your team does great work in San Diego. You're definitely a leader in your space. We help plumbers get high quality leads and grow their business using paid ads so they can have a steady stream of jobs without having to deal with lowball clients. We do this using our plumber profit system, a tailored ad strategy that consistently brings in quality leads ready to book. We just helped whatever plumbing increase their lead flow by 40%. I didn't even lift a finger when I was doing this. I was just using the prompts. So this will not only give you ideas, it'll give you a steady stream of like pain points that you can nudge at. You can use that in follow-ups and new campaigns. I didn't do anything. Mind blown. Holy moly, this is freaking incredible. So design beats willpower. If we have the right frameworks for copy, like what I just gave you, then we can leverage those frameworks to create better copy, to influence better through our words, because copy is what's going to actually influence the customer to do what we asked, which is raise their hand and become a lead. After we dial in our copy, another point is that offer is everything. So many people, again, like myself included, when I was testing out email, I would send emails and be like, nobody's responding. This is weird. It's because I would very much put this type of lingo in my emails. We'll help you grow your business. We edit your videos. We'll post on your social media. We'll run your ads. And it's like so vanilla. And the client on the other side of the receiving the email, they're just thinking, no, I'm good. I don't need to edit videos. Oh, I don't need somebody to post for me. Oh, I got the ads covered. The problem is if our offer is basic, it doesn't catch attention, it's not outcome driven, like editing videos is not an outcome for a customer. Like that's not going to provide an outcome. You can't guarantee that. It doesn't speak the language of their prospect. Oh, we'll edit your videos. Cool. So what? And it doesn't add value. Instead, what we want to make sure is that if we have a service, what we want to add to it is like, so that you can desired outcome, so that blank, 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 so that you become the most known, so that you can add 10 new clients this month. So what I would say is we'll add 10 new furnace appointments to your pipeline in 30 days. We'll help you become the most known realtor in your area to attract buyers and sellers on easy mode. We'll turn your social media into a 24/7 lead generation machine, or will work for free until it does. We'll scale your e-commerce ads to 4x ROAS in 90 days, or refund every penny you spent. One of the biggest problems, I coach a lot of agencies, and the root of the lack of success of 100% of them is their offer sucks. They might be really good at what they do, but if their offer, their packaging, their positioning is not good, then they're never going to get results. They're never going to get somebody to reply to it because they're just deliverablers. They're just so focused on providing an output for their clients versus an outcome. Yeah, you're really good at what you do, but how do you package that in a way to make it an irresistible offer for your clients? We need to make sure our offer is dialed in. It can be subtle tweaks like what I just went over. Just like the subtle tweaks of, we'll add this, we'll help you become the most known if you're an editor, we'll turn your social media into a 24/7 lead gen machine, we'll run your ads, okay, we'll scale your to 4x ROAS, whatever it could be. A lot of it could just be positioning. Next thing I want to hit on is speed to lead. So, what I used to do is I would run the campaigns when I first started, and I would like sit around and I'd totally forget that I launched this campaign, and I'd be like, okay, let me go check. And I have a bunch of people in my inbox, and it's been 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours before actually responding to the client. And at that point, they've already forgot about it. They're doing something else. Their attention is somewhere else. One of the videos, Alex Ramose's 4 pillars to turn leads into customers, he says, speed of response is one of the pillars. The speed at which a lead is responded to after they opt in or message a company is one of the pillars to turn leads into customers. A timely response is important to avoid decreasing the quality of service and shell rate. If the client responds to you, they're literally sitting in front of their email. And who knows what's going to happen 10 minutes later? They're going to get brought into a different task. They're going to get busy doing something else. They're going to decide, I'm actually going to start working on this thing. I got pulled into a meeting. I'm actually out to lunch. So if we can focus on speed to lead, the likelihood of converting that lead into an actual call is going to be significantly higher. So what I like to do is I like to have on my desktop work stuff on the right side, cold email campaign on the left side. And I can see inside of something like Instantly where there's a unibox, I can see everybody coming in responding. And if somebody is a positive reply, right then and there, I can just click into the cold email campaign and respond back. So inside of Instantly, we can actually set up an integration. So anytime we do get a positive response, we get notified via Slack. Also inside the Unibox, it will automatically categorize them as interested or not interested. So any interested person, that's who we need to be following up with as soon as possible. But we want to make sure that speed to lead is actively being incorporated as you launch your cold email campaigns, because if you delay by an hour, they're already bogged down in another task and their excitement or interest is significantly significantly lower. So speed to lead is paramount. Next thing I want to hit on that I've learned is to do less volume of emails, but more campaigns. Going back to my earlier point of you get an email, it's like we want to have the biggest list of 1 million people, and we're going to blast this 1 million people, and we're going to hope that if I email this 1 million person list, then I'm going to get really good response rates. Everybody's going to reply. Because what we think is if I cast a super wide net, I'm for sure going to get some results from this. I'm for sure going to get more clients saying yes and wanting to work with us. But the problem is it's so wide that it doesn't really speak specifically to each person. So instead of I'm going to cast a wide net, I'm going to cast multiple nets. Let's just say you work with online coaches, for example. I would have online coaches as like a list, but I would also categorize it from fitness coaches, credit card coaches, coaches who follow Ed Milet, coaches running ads, coaches in Florida, agency coaches, real estate coaches, coaches on Instagram. I would break up the lists by specific niches within that specific niche that you're reaching out to as like subcategories. And rather than email coaches with all of these different coaches on it, I would have all of these different lists as it pertains to this specific niche. So I would have a list of coaches in Florida, a list of coaches who coach coaches, a list of fitness coaches, a list of coaches on YouTube. Because if I'm blasting to just online coaches, the messaging to fitness coaches is going to be a lot different than the messaging to agency coaches, for example. So this really allows us to sniper our audience and sniper our copy, our personalization, our campaign, and our results. So how we can do that is, if we have a huge list in campaigns, what we can do is we can create several different campaigns with that same list of 1 million people if we can categorize it by a specific person. Each campaign is going to have its own sequence. It's going to have its own messaging that you're going to need for that specific avatar. Again, the copy for fitness coaches is going to be a lot different than the copy for online coaches or business coaches. And we can get really creative with the campaigns and have a lot more success because the more pinpointed you are with the campaign, the better results you're going to get. Next point that I want to hit on is creating urgency. I see so many emails that are like, oh, do you have 15 minutes today or tomorrow to work together? Oh, like, can we schedule a call to da-da-da-da? If there's no urgency, then it's going to be really challenging for somebody to want to raise their hand right now. And this really depends on your offer. It depends on what it is that you're offering. If there's an angle that you can provide some urgency, maybe you're doing a special. If they're aware of you, then you can get more creative with the urgencies with like a special offer. But if they have no idea who you are and you're like, oh, we're offering 20% off, then it's not going to be relevant because they don't care because they don't know who you are. So for example, ways to create urgency in cold email could be the following. I'm opening it up to 5 people to do an audit as like a call to action. A reply with the word audit and you can snag a spot. You're probably going to do it for anybody who replies audit, but as a sense of urgency, a little nudge like that. We're doing 50% off for the next 2 weeks. So depending on your offer, if it makes sense, if they're aware of you, perhaps this could work really well. A special offer for the next 2 weeks or a free trial, especially if they're unaware of you, is something that is a banger offer. That's what's actually going to get people to pique their interest and respond. Let's just say like your lead gen agency or ad agency or content or something along those lines. We can only work with one person per zip code and thought you could be the perfect person to take advantage of this and reap the benefit of getting the leads in the area. That's an easy urgency, especially if it's true. Like if you're only working with one person per zip code, perfect. Let me learn more about this so I can claim it. Especially business owners are competitive and they want to take advantage of that. Next thing that I want to talk about is to A/B test the openers. So many people send emails, myself included when I was first starting, and I'd be like, dang it, no one's responding. No one responded to my email that I sent out. And the problem is that I was just sending an email and I was hoping that this email was the banger and the first email that I did was going to be perfect. And it's like, no, what world was I living in? Okay. We need to be in reality and we need to realize that we need to test things, and how we get actual results is through testing, and we actually find the winning formula through testing. So one of the things that we want to test is the opener. So the opener is pretty much a first sentence. So like if I'm checking my email right now and I look at the first sentence, that's what's going to pop up in like the preview. Because of that, what we want to do is we want to make sure that is convicting. Perhaps we can test out different openers and we can make sure that that is what people are seeing. Really the key with the opener is that it's personalized. We want to make sure that the opener is actually personalized. And a lot of people are like, okay, what is it that we're actually personalizing? We're going to personalize the city, a recent post they made. We're going to mention competitors. We're going to mention the tools that they use, college they attended, mutual connection, compliment. What we want to be able to do is we want to test multiple different openers. I'm not going to go through every single one of these openers, but here's a huge list that you can take a picture of and test yourself. These are personalized lines. These are ways ways that you can test out openers to pique people's attention, to get people bought in. I really like the mutual connection, and I like the compliment, and I also like a recent post and also mentioning competitors. I like all of these. These are all great ways to bring it up. And I also like to use humor if I can, because we want to make it personalized. We want to make it seem like it's not going out to every single person on a fat list. I think humor can soften it a little bit. That's just more my style, but that's something that you guys can test. The next thing that we want to test is call to actions. So CTA is call to action. And again, when I was first starting, when I review all of these emails from people, like everyone's just frustrated, no one's responding. It's because you're sending a call to action of either book a 30-minute call. The call to action is not being tested, and the call to action either isn't clear. So going back to my first point of leading with value, not just trying to get someone to book a call in with you in bottom of the funnel and think that they're going to immediately trust you. Test different call to actions, test different value that you can send to them, test different ways that you can communicate if you can send the value. Because all we're trying to do is we're trying to get our clients to raise their hand and show interest in what we have to do. And the rest of the work will be a sales effort. So for example, call to action. Can I send you more info? Got 10 minutes tomorrow. I made a personalized video. Can I drop it here? Are you the right person to reach out to about this? Want a quick breakdown of how this can work for you? I've got a case study that may interest you. Can I share it here? Is this the best place to share something that could help you out? And when it comes to A/B testing, is inside of Instantly, which is really cool, is we can add variants. So let's just say email 1, opener 1, CTA 1. We could create another variant, email 1, opener 2, and we can have all these different variances. And then what we're able to do is we can start to track which variants of email that we're sending to the client is getting the best results. We can begin to look at, okay, what opener is doing the best? What call to action is doing the best? What about this is getting the best responses? What's bringing the quality responses? And we can use that inside of our campaign for openers, for our call to actions, to land on what the winning formula is for our email. So Instantly makes it super easy for us to do and test these and make informed decisions based off of that. So now when I use the variants, I can see, cool, A worked really well, B did not work well, C did not work well, or whatever the variance tells us based off of how many we sent, opened, replied, clicked, opportunities, all that sort of stuff. So the next thing that I really want to hit on, the next big tip, is the tip of using spin tags. For those who don't know, spin tags is basically a method of generating multiple variations of a text from a single template by pasting placeholders in alternative word or phrase options, commonly used in content creation, marketing, or email campaigns to create unique content at scale, helping to avoid duplication or spam issues. That's really the key of spin tags. So for example, hello John, hope you're having a great, fantastic, wonderful day. So how that would look is if we go to sequences, we're using these brackets for like call to actions. We're using these brackets with desired outcomes. So now when we preview this, we can see exactly what they're going to say, and it's going to choose a variation of this. It's going to choose a variation of the call to action. So if I use random cheers / best, it's going to choose one of those, used best. So now if I'm testing out different call to actions, if I'm testing out different openers, I can also use spin tags for that. Or we like to use it for like the hi, we like to use it for the hello, we like to use it for the sign off, like just what I just showed you, because it could work super effective and works extremely well when used correctly and prevents you from getting marked as spam and just end up in the spam folder of the client. So spin tags is definitely a hack that I would suggest using. Okay, the next point that I want to hit on is volume. When I first started, I was like, all right, here we go. First email campaign live. Let's go, baby. It's game time. As I'm sending 1,000 emails a month, thinking that I'm going to scale my business. The reality is we cannot expect to send 1,000 emails a month and think that's automatically going to scale our business overnight. The key is volume. We need to have significant volume in our cold emails in order to actually get results. If we do not have a significant amount of volume, then we're not going to have enough data. We're not going to have enough customers that we can reach out to actually get results from our cold emails. So I'm just going to go through a simple formula that I like to use when people are like, oh, how many emails should I send? I like to reverse engineer from the perspective of how many clients can you get? Like, what is your offer? Like all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to go through a scenario. This is super dependent on a million factors, so please take this with a grain of salt. But let's just say we are sending 10,000 emails per month. We should expect anywhere from 1.5 to 4% of replies. Perfect. We're gonna get 200 replies. So 200 people responding to our emails. And then let's just say of the 200, 40% of them are positive. And naturally, when you send a high volume of emails, out of office, take me off your list, wrong person, we can't expect everybody, 100% of people to be like, oh, thanks so much for your cold email. Like the nature of sales, you're going to get that, so don't be discouraged. But let's just assume, going back to my point, that 40% of all of the replies that we're getting are in fact positive. So that would make the 200 replies, 80 positive replies. So I have 80 people who raised their hand. They want the value. They responded to the call to action, all that sort of stuff based off of 10,000 emails. The next metric that we are tracking is lead to booking. How many leads that we're getting positive replies? How many are we actually booking? So let's just conservatively say, cool, 80 people raised their hand for the call to action. Let's just say we booked 25% of the 80 people. So that would mean that we booked 20 calls. 20 calls is pretty killer. Cool. And then let's just say our close rate is 25%. And that leaves us with 5 deals. So again, these are numbers that you need to determine for your business. You need to determine what is your ratio for each thing. This is a okay KPI. It just really depends on your offer, your total addressable market, how good your offer is, how good your copy is, how good your lists are, what your open rates are, how good your domains are, all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of different factors that play into this, your sales team, all that sort of stuff. But this is really the question that we want to figure out with cold email through the testing phase and through the volume phase, through sending a lot of volume, is like, what are these ratios for my business? And then if I want to grow my business, all I need to do is reverse engineer these ratios in order to get to the outcome that I actually want. And at the end of the day, most people drastically underestimate the volume needed for results. So we want to make sure that we have a high volume because the volume is what's actually going to create the results. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is personalization at scale. So like a lot of people hear personalization and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just not going to do it. Or they go the other route where they're just like spending hours and hours going through a list of 10,000 people and searching their LinkedIn and adding a personalization. So the first thing that we can use is something like Instantly. So inside of Instantly's lead finder, what we can actually do is we can link up our ChatGPT and we can go to our leads and we can use AI prompts. And with the AI prompts, what it can do is it can generate a lot of different information. So for example, company news, like if there's company news, we can have it generate that. So if I go to AI prompts, there's a lot of different templates in here. So if I were to do like a company compliment, cool, I can run that and I can create a column so that I can use the company compliment in the personalized line. If I wanted to find a competitor, if I wanted to personalize the first line, if I wanted to find the pain point in the industry, we can do that at scale using Instantly. And what that will do is it'll create a column for us that we can then use as a personalized line in the cold email, which is pretty killer and very fast. The other way that we can do it is by making sure our lists are really freaking good. Like we're not casting a huge net. Why don't we write specific copy for each net that we have casted and we have really niche lists for them? So that is another option, is personalize it based off of the niche list. So for example, let's just say we work with plumbers. Cool. Let's get a list of plumbers in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and now personalize the line based off of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And we looked at earlier pulling a list of leads from email database or from exhibitor lists. Go to the exhibitor list and then now you create a personalized line based off of the people attending that exhibitor list. And then use that as a personalized line. Find a land. Okay, there's a lot of different ways based off of the niche list. And also like quality lists as well. There's a lot of different ways that you can do personalizations at scale without having to spend 4 hours doing research. The other way would be to also hire a VA, and the VA could do that for you, but we'll skip that point for now. The next point that I want to make is to build a team. If you're like every business owner that I know that are just starting off and scaling and growing, is you're juggling everything, the sales, the marketing, the operations, the fulfillment. And the problem is if you're focused, if you're chasing too many things, your focus on cold email, your focus on the success of cold email is going to be limited, especially if you're the bottleneck when it comes to actually getting results for your clients. In order for us to remove ourselves as a bottleneck in our business, we need to leverage our time best, which is probably not going to be doing a few things that you could be doing inside of cold email. 80% of the clients that we work with from an agency perspective struggle with systems. They struggle with getting stuff out their plate. They struggle with delegation. So it's totally normal. But how do we build unbeatable cold email team? So what we did is we had a list builder. So basically the list builder was a VA, and they were responsible for building lists, buying lists, coming up with the personalized lines, fact-checking the accuracy, making sure they're all verified, and putting them into the campaigns. We also had a non-voice appointment setter who was responsible for like the initial responses inside of Instantly, the follow-up with people who replied yes, organizing the CRM to make sure that it's accurate so we can actually track the metrics. The non-voice appointment setter is basically the person that's in charge of Instantly. They're making sure that their speed to lead is really high. We're following up with people as many times as humanly possible without pissing the customer off too much. But someone to handle the busy work of a lot of the back and forth that happens when you initially get a positive response. Then a copywriter / a campaign setter upper. Basically what they're going to do is they're going to build the campaigns based off of the list that the list builder created. And they're going to use the GPT prompts, the frameworks, and what we can do is we can approve the frameworks, approve the copy from each list builder. So, and we also have a closer who's responsible for actually taking the calls from the non-voice appointment setter. And then your role and responsibility just becomes managing the team and making sure that operation is set up for success. And really the success will come down to how good you train them them in adherence to the protocol and the SOPs that you built. So don't just like think, oh, I'm hiring a list builder and all of a sudden all my problems are going to be solved, depending on how well you can actually set somebody up for success, which is through standard operating procedures. Next thing I want to talk through is leveraging proof. Let's look at this email. Hey, I came across your business and was impressed with what you're doing and think I see a lot of potential for growth. We specialize in helping businesses like yours double their revenue in 6 months, guaranteed or don't pay time. I open to a quick chat next week. Versus same email, we just helped blank company add $40,000 in 3 weeks using the same system. Really, the difference between the two is the second one has proof that it's actually worked before, and the first one is just, to me, I would read this and I'd be like, show me the proof. It's like we have so many case studies at our coaching business, and 100% of every customer that decides to work with us tells us that they checked out the YouTube videos, they went through all the cases, and the cases are really what got them over the edge because people are skeptical. We're in the trust recession, just like what I said earlier. The more that we can scale trust, we can build trust with our customers, the more likely they are to raise their hand, to trust you, to do business with you. And the way to do that is through proof, through case studies. So if you have them, great. If you don't, then work to get your first couple, because if you can leverage those will make you a lot of money. All right, the next point that I want to talk about is a multi-channel approach. So what I see a lot and what I used to do a ton is you get a positive reply. Someone's like, yeah, send me more information. Cool. Sounds awesome. And you follow up on email. And you follow up again on email. And then you follow up again on email. And then you follow up again on email. And you're like, they haven't responded to my emails. Because the problem is you just keep following up on email. That's what the problem is, John. What we want to do is we want to realize, okay, we're missing out a lot if we're just sitting on email, following up, assuming that they're going to respond to the email that you just sent them for the 5th time. The beautiful thing about a multi-channel approach is likely the customers are spending time on a different platform besides email, like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, SMS, Twitter. Text them, call them, hit them up on Twitter, hit them up on Facebook. They're on these platforms, and if we're just relying on email, that's just one of the several channels that your customer is paying attention to. So if someone has a positive reply, what I'm going to do inside of my CRM is I'm going to put them in the opportunity of interested, and I'm not just going to sit here and send another email. I'm going to call them. I'm going to send them an SMS. I'm going to find them on LinkedIn so that I can hit them up on LinkedIn. I'm going to find them on Facebook. I'm going to add them as a friend. Okay, I'm going to do the most to get this person's attention because that's what's actually going to get me results. The next point that I want to hit on is to encourage replies. I've hit on this a little bit already, but a lot of people are like, can we book a call? Let's book a call. Click here to book a call. Those are the types of call to actions. It's like, I don't know you. I don't trust you. Well, we really need to realize when it comes to cold email, the people that we're emailing are the masses. These are not leads. These are contacts. These are emails. Our goal is to send to the masses and get the masses to raise their hand. Yeah, I want to learn more about this. Yeah, I want more information on how this all works. That turns the list to a lead. This becomes a lead once they raise their hand. That's who I'm going to pay attention to. And that becomes the person that we're going to target to actually reach out to them. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to encourage replies in our email. We're not trying to book a call directly through email because it's just highly unlikely that's how the customers operate. That's not the consumer journey when it comes to cold email. So what we're trying to do is we're just trying to get our customers to raise their hand. Okay. So for example, can I shoot you more info? Can I send you a personalized video on how this works? Are you the right person to reach out to about this? These are the type of emails. These are the type of messages that we can send to these types of customers to get them to raise their hand. And then the people that raise their hand become our targets. And that becomes who we do the multi-channel follow-up with, who we actually try to get on a call. If you're adding so much friction to them raising their hand and turning it into a prospect or a lead, you're not going to get any replies. Like at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. So all we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to raise their hand. And the people that raise their hand, those are the opportunities of interested in that we're going to follow up with and actually try to get on a call. We're going to be diligent with the follow-up. Next point I want to hit on is build a brand or build your brand. People work with who they know, who they like, and who they trust. I've said this multiple times throughout this video that we are in the trust recession. 80% of customers conduct online research before making a purchase. You watching this, sending a cold email, you have a brand whether you know it or not. And really, you have the ability to control what your customer perceives of you based off of your brand, based off of what happens when they Google your business, what happens when they Google their name. Building our brand, building my brand, posting on social media, posting on YouTube, posting on Instagram has generated multiple 7 figures because it scales trust. It makes the buying decision so much easier for our customers. It scales the ability for them to actually trust us and know what we're talking about, because the reality of the customer journey in something like a cold email is I'm going to get a cold email from them. And before I even make the decision, if I'm going to book a call, if I'm going to respond, if I want more information, all that sort of stuff, I'm going to check out your social media. I'm going to go to your email. I'm going to check out who you are. I'm going to Google your name. I'm going to check out your website. And at this point, this is either going to affirm their decision in responding to you and replying to you and booking a call and wanting to learn more information, or it's going to do the complete opposite and detract them. Like if I looked you up on Instagram and you hadn't posted and you weren't adding any value and your website sucked and all that sort of stuff, I'd be like, this person wants to help me grow my business and they're not even doing anything for themselves. Okay, got it. Doesn't make sense. By building our brand, this is going to increase the likelihood of a customer making the next step with you. All right, guys, the last point that I want to make is fortune is in the follow-up. So many people, oh, but I replied to the email back and, they haven't responded and I'm just waiting for them to get back to me. The reality of the situation is that 44% of salespeople give up after one follow-up attempt. No wonder a lot of people suck at sales is because they're not following up. Fortune is literally in the follow-up. There's been hundreds, if not seven figures driven inside of our businesses from follow-up. And I've taught you today how to do multi-channel follow-up. What's even more shocking, 95% of all converted leads are reached on the 6th attempt. Okay, so you have the opportunity to literally smash over 60% of people just by following up more than once. And if we know that 95% of all converted leads are reached on the 6th attempt, are you following up more than once? Are you hitting them up? Are you being diligent with this? Is this part of your follow-up sequence? Do you have a SOP for this? Do you have somebody that's managing the follow-up? We need to take follow-up serious. And instantly, it makes it so easy because they have the built-in CRM where I can literally see everybody who's interested that I need to get to meeting booked and meeting complete. I'm going to literally go through every single prospect. I'm going to do them multi-channel. I'm going to make sure that I'm following up with them a significant amount of times, knowing that if I follow up with them more than once, I'm crushing my competition. And two, I know that 95% of all leads are converted after the 6th attempt. I need to be following up a ton. So my advice to you is we need to have the multi-channel follow-up 6 to 8 times. If someone responds through cold email, they're going to go to the interested bucket and I'm going to be following up with them 6 to 8 times on every single platform until I get a hard no or until I actually book a call. That is the follow-up protocol that will allow you to book more calls, to land more clients, and actually have success with something like this. All right, guys, that was 10 years of cold email advice condensed into one video. If you want to learn how to get leads quickly so that you can start implementing what I just taught you, go ahead and click right here. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you on the next one.